welcome to the official program of the 35th Annual Martin Luther King Jr. Breakfast. And it's my pleasure to welcome you all here. And our opening words will be from a student from the Swift River Elementary School in Belchertown, Ikua Ngamo Kumago Amphia Boni.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to give you a poem entitled, His Dream Lives On. Today is the day we all sing in honor of Martin Luther King. Wherever people fight to be free, his name is remembered with dignity. When black people were not treated right, he stood up strong to lead the fight. He fought with love, not guns or darts. He changed people's minds and their hearts. But some people did not like his words. He was taken away to a better world. Yet his dream lives on, that all can be free when we knock down the walls between you and me. Though Martin Luther King's life did not last, his dream lives on till we are free at last. And so I welcome you all to the 35th Martin Luther King Breakfast. Have fun, make friends, sing well. Thank you.
And speaking of singing, we're going to now join together. Please rise, and we're going to sing with every voice and sing. And the Amherst Area Gospel Choir will lead us in this anthem.
Liberty. its star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, though who has brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand. True to our God, true to our native
Thank you, Amherst Area Gospel Choir and Director Jackie Wallace. We're going to hear more from the choir again in a bit. And we're going to continue music with our Crocker Farm Elementary School chorus, and they're coming forward in just a moment. And as they do, let's take a moment to recognize a few people in our audience. Welcome to our District Attorney, David Sullivan. Thank you, David. And our State Representative, Mindy Dom. Her first MLK breakfast as our State Representative. Could we have all those who serve currently or have in the past in any elected or appointed town office please rise to be recognized and receive our appreciation? Please rise.
Thank you so much for having us. These are members of the 4th grade from Crocker Farm School. We are so thrilled to join our voices in song on this wonderful celebration. We're going to do 2 selections for you today. Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around and Happy Birthday, Dr.
Bumpus. He is a noted storyteller, a musician, has worked with children in all different settings, after-school programs, in-school programs, helping young people learn the art of storytelling and be able to tell their own history and their own story. And today, he is going to honor us with his presence, providing song and storytelling. Let's welcome Eshu Bumpus.
Hello. All right. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories, sing you a couple of songs, but you have to sing. You are welcomed. 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 You are welcomed in this place. You are welcomed in this place. You are welcomed. You are welcomed. You are welcomed. You are welcomed. You are welcomed in this place. You are welcomed in this place. That's the chorus. Once you learn the chorus, I'll put in some verses. Thank you. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcomed in this place. All right. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome in this place. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcomed in this place. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome in this place. You can sing your song. If you can take a chance. If you just came to listen and sit back and watch the dance, let me tell you that's all right. Let me tell you in advance, you are welcome in this place. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcomed in this place. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome in this place. If a story is enough to put a smile on your face, or if this is just a moment when you need a warm embrace, sit down and be with family. Life's a journey, not a race. You are welcome in this place. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcomed in this place. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome in this place. We came from different lands with a past that darkness claims. Our stories full of triumphs over miseries unnamed. But now we put our hands together with a joy that won't be shamed. You are welcome in this place. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome in this place. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. that you already know. And so you know when I get to the part where I say, you little pigs better let us in, you say, not by the hair of my chin, chin, chin. That's it. But you have another part also, because in this story you have to scat. Now I know you all like to scat, right? That's when you sing but you don't know the words. Well, people give credit to Satchmo Louis Armstrong for inventing the scat. It may have started with him. But they say one time he was doing an outdoor concert and he was singing a new song. And so he had the words on the sheet, on the music stand in front of him, and the wind blew it away halfway through the song. So he didn't want to stop singing, so he said, scat-a-doo-bop-bop-doo, because he didn't know the words. So we're going to scat. So I'll scat a line and you give it back to me, okay? Anytime I scat a line, you just give it back to me, okay? This is the story of the three little pigs. They lived within a house made of twigs. Next door there lived a nice wolf family. But their house was made of bricks, you see. One day the lazy pigs thought of a trick. They wanted to live in a house made of brick. They sneaked into the big house next door, waited till everyone was out at the store. Sha-doo-ba-dwee-da-doo-doo-dwee. Sha-doo-ba-dwee-da-doo-doo-dwee. Yeah. When the wolves came home that day, you know they didn't know what to say. The house was locked with the pigs inside. Mr. Wolf said, I'm gonna fix their hide. You little pigs better let us in. Not by the hair of our chin, chin, chin. Mr. Wolf began to huff and puff. You know he just about had enough. Sweet ba-doo-ba-dwee, ba-doo-dwee. Sweet ba-doo-ba-dwee, ba-doo-dwee. Mrs. Wolf says this has got to stop. Found a telephone and called a cop. The cop who came was named Chester Fox, same one that blew the case of Goldilocks. Fox went into the house for a while, came out wearing a foxy smile. He never listened to the wolf side at all. Told them they would have to wait for his call. Sa-doo-dwee, sa-doo-dwee, sa-doo-dwee. Sa-doo-dwee, sa-doo-dwee, sa-doo-dwee. News reporters came that day. Here's what the little pigs had to say. The big bad wolf tried to get in our house. We're just as innocent as a mouse. And they've got a reputation. You hear it all across the nation. Mr. Wolf said there's no justice here. We have to leave the home we love so dear. Sa-doo-dwee, da-doo-dwee, doo-dwee. Sa-doo-dwee, doo-dwee. Now the wolves were left without a home. In the forest and the hills they roam. The pigs would never admit that they lied. Nobody ever heard the wolf family sigh. If there's a lesson in the story today, it's Always tell a story your own way. Never just assume that one side is true. 'Cause there's always another point of view. Tell your story. Got to tell your own story. I wrote a song, boy, it's almost 30 years ago now, about our story. The ship was sailing on a western sea. I wondered what would become of me. They brought me to a land so strange, a land that they called freedom. Separated from my wife and son, worked as long as you could see the sun. Had to live among my enemies in a land that they call freedom. I shed my blood just like I shed my name. I knew my life would never be the same. So I spent it struggling to be free. Don't want to pass on this misery. If you believe in things you cannot see, make sure it's something that can set you free. Don't spend your time trying to pretend you found a land that they call freedom. One day you realize you're not alone. Freedom's got to be for everyone. Each generation's got to find a way to build a land that they can call freedom. Freedom doesn't come like a bird on a wing. You know it's got to be a hard-won thing. To build a nation in a hostile land takes the work of every woman and man. Children will listen if you teach them to. Understand it's up to me and you. 'Cause nothing ever comes easily in this land that they call freedom. To free yourself, you got to think and plan, then act it out with your own two hands. That's why we've got to work hand in hand to build a land that we can call freedom. Build a land that we can call freedom. Build a land that we can call freedom. Summer of 1960. Summer of 1960, I was 8 years old. We had just moved into the projects that year in the city of Boston. So at that age, I hadn't ventured very far. You know, I go to the local elementary school, to the local grocery store, to the basketball courts, of course, and my favorite place, the library. Right now. Love the library. Now the thing is, even though I was 8 years old, I was going into the 4th grade because I was a real good reader. And so I got to have a library card. Spent hours in that library, read every kind of folk tale, fairy tale, myth, legend, tall tale that I could find. And I love these stories. But you know, there's this one story that bothered me. I liked the story, and I could relate to the story, but there was something about it, I just couldn't put my finger on it. There was something about it that just wasn't quite right. It's a story called The Three Billy Goats Gruff. You know that story. Now, I could relate to the story, because here were these three goats that all had the same name. There was Big Gruff, Medium Gruff, and Little Gruff. Now, my last name is Bumpus, and I got 5 brothers. So my 3 older brothers were all called Big Bump, and me and my 2 younger brothers were all called Little Bump. So I could relate, you know. But there was something about that story that just wasn't quite right, and I couldn't put my finger on it until one day something happened to me. My mother gave me this package. I put it in this little shopping bag. She said, I want you to go to the Whittier Street Projects. Now, I knew where the Whittier Street Projects was. I'd never been there. I was little, you know. But something you need to know about the projects. The project I live in, there was one main street that went right through the project called Annunciation Road. I didn't know until I was in high school and tried to invite some friends to my house. Everybody else called it Assassination Road. I asked some high school friends to come over to my place, and they said, are you crazy? We're not going there. But that's, you know, that's how the projects are, you know. But to me, it was just home. But she sent me to the Whittier Street Project, gave me this package, said, go straight. When you get in there, you can take the second building on the left, go up to the 6th floor, knock on Mrs. Franklin's door, give her the package, come straight home. I knew exactly what that meant. Go straight there, don't stop for anything, come straight back. I knew exactly what that meant. So I took the package, and I headed down the road. Now, on the way out of the projects, there's this railroad track that separates my project from the rest of the city. So I came to the little bridge, right? And I guess I was kind of like the little Gruff, you know? He came to the bridge. Now, he had a song. He used to sing like this. My name is Gruff. My name is Gruff. I may be small, but I'm big enough. I know you want to sing that with me. My name is Gruff. My name is Gruff. I may be small, but I'm big enough. But you know, when the little Gruff came to that bridge, he heard another song. Well, you don't want to mess with the troll. I said, you don't want to mess with the troll. 'Cause I can chew you up, or I could swallow you whole, but filling my belly is my only goal. Sing that with me. Well, you don't want to mess with the troll. I said, you don't want to mess with the troll. 'Cause I can chew you up, or I can swallow you whole, but filling my belly is my only goal. But little Gruff heard that song, he looked up and saw that big old troll. He said, man, you don't want to eat me. Man, just let me go. My big brothers are coming. There'll be a much better meal for you. Troll said, okay, cool. I can wait a little bit to have a bigger meal. He let him go. And so little Gruff rushed along, and here I was. I went under the bridge. I came to this one big street. There's 2 lanes and fast traffic on both sides, but my church was right across that street, so I crossed it many times. Very careful. Got across the street, and then it's just a straight shot down to the Whittier Street Projects from there, just a few minutes. So I walked down to the Whittier Street Projects. As soon as I get into the project, I see the second building on the left right there. So I go in, and I take the stinky elevator up this. All the elevators are stinky in the project. Stinky elevator up to the 6th floor. Get out, find Mrs. Franklin's door, knocked on the door, gave her the package. She said, thank you very much. Gave me a quarter. This is 1960. Quarter buy you a whole bag full of candy. I was very happy. I said, thank you very much. And now I was done with my errand, so I didn't need to take the stinky elevator. I could just run down the stairs. So I'm running down the stairs. I'm thinking, you know, I'm not really a little Gruff. Maybe I'm like the medium-sized Gruff. Now, the medium-sized Gruff had this song because he liked to dance. He sing like this. I am the Gruff of the middle size. I like to dance, make me feel alive. Oh yeah, sing that one. I am the Gruff of the middle size. I like to dance, make me feel alive. Well, medium Gruff came along and singing his song, and all of a sudden, what do you hear? Well, you don't want to mess with the troll. I said, you don't want to mess with the troll, 'cause I can chew you up or I can swallow you whole, but filling my belly is my only goal. Oh man, medium Gruff saw that big old troll. He said, man, you don't want to eat me, man. Don't you know my big brother's coming? He's so big, man, you'll have a great meal. Just let me go. Troll said, okay, I can wait, that's fine. He let him go. Now here I was, came down the 6 flights of stairs, burst through the door, feeling good, got a quarter in my pocket, ready to head home. But what do I see right across the street? All the projects had them. 6-foot chain link fence, basketball court. Right there. And a bunch of teenagers were out there playing. It was a full court game, so 5 guys on each side. And these guys were good. These guys could play some ball. There's a bunch of other teenagers watching the game. I came over to the fence and I'm standing there watching. And these guys were really good. I'm paying so much attention to the game, I'm not paying any attention to those 15 other teenagers that's watching, waiting their turn to play. But they noticed me. And I was not from their projects. And even though I was just a little kid, I was in the wrong territory. I'm standing there enjoying this game. All of a sudden I heard, what you doing around here, boy? I said, oh man, all them 15 teenagers were standing by the fence. I go, boy, what you doing around here? Wasn't nothing I could say. Wasn't nothing I could do. I couldn't run. They'd be on me like that. I was not the big Gruff. Big Gruff sang his song. He said, I am the big Gruff, and I don't take no stuff. You got to sing that with me. I am the big Gruff, and I don't take no stuff. Well, Big Gruff came along, you heard that song. Well, you don't want to mess with the troll. I said, you don't want to mess with the troll. I can chew you up or I can swallow you whole. Filling my belly is my only goal. Big Gruff heard that song. He looked over at that troll, lowered his head down and raised them horns. Hi-ya! Knocked that troll off the bridge. The troll was in the water, washed down the river, never seen nor heard from again. But I was not the Big Gruff. I was a little skinny little kid. And they're standing there saying, boy, don't you know what we're going to do to you? It was like they didn't even want to. They were just obligated to kick my little butt. And then, the most shocking thing I ever saw, they actually stopped the basketball game. They stopped a full court basketball game just to stop and kick my little butt. 25 teenagers are now standing there on the other side of this fence. I'm like, boy, you in the wrong place. All of a sudden, tallest guy out there, way in the back of the crowd, looked up over the crowd and said, wait a minute, you got a brother named Paul? I said, yeah. One next to him said, you got a brother named Bobby? I said, yeah. He said, that's a Bumpus, leave him alone. Went right back to the gate like nothing happened. Like nothing had happened. I took off running home. Didn't waste no time. But you know, then I realized something. That's what's wrong with that story. You don't send the little ones out. It's the older ones that go out and pave the way. You know? My big brothers were so cool, so respected, so well known throughout the city, they made it safe for me to go places that were not at all safe for others. Then I realized every one of us is somebody's big Gruff and somebody else's little Gruff. We need to realize that. So I made a song that goes like this. Someone came before me, someone will come after. Together we can make a world filled with joy and laughter. Someone came before me, someone will come after. Together we can make a world filled with joy and laughter. Every one of us has got potential. We got strength, both physical and mental. That potential means we've got to exercise. If we don't use our minds, we self-lobotomize. If we appreciate those who came before, how can we help it but to do even more? So we connect to each other. We connect to the past. So we know what we build is going to last. So don't be afraid of trolls hiding under the bridge, saying they want to chop you up and put you in the fridge. Before you fear failure, you should fear regret. Don't be quick to say no to things we haven't tried yet. We place ourselves firmly on the shoulders of giants, because that's what's going to lead us to triumphs. And one day when you look back at all you've done, when you look back at all the battles you've won, you say, someone came before me, someone will come after. Together we can make a world filled with joy and laughter. So tell me, whose Billy Goat Gruff are you? I want to sing you one last song, and this is a song I wrote about 15 years ago. It's a song for Martin Luther King. I have a dream, you have one too. Together we can make our dreams come true. With our hearts and our minds, our song we will sing, and dream just like Martin Luther King. He gave his life, he made a stand when injustice raised its hand, just so that we would have a better world. And now we must dream, rise over our fears, and honor those who strove throughout the years, through good times and bad, through laughter and grief. They never would let go of their belief. They used their strength to make a world a little better than before. And so will we, of that you can be sure. 'Cause this is our world. This is our world. Sing it with me. This is our world. 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 I love you.
Lucky to have you living among us. And speaking of lucky having wonderful people who come to this community and live and work among us, we're going to pay tribute now to a real hero in this community for so many years, Judy Brooks. In 1970 with Barry and their two children. And Barry and Judy raised generations of children and educated them through the public schools here in the area. They also engaged in the community and lived the values that they were teaching the children in their classrooms and in the buildings that they ran, as in the case of Barry as principal. And They engaged in many different ways. Among the things that Judy did was join and participate in the original formation of the committee that created this breakfast 35 years ago. And she was an active member of that committee through the entirety of those first 34 breakfasts. And she also decided that it wasn't enough just to volunteer in the community. She wanted to speak out and lead in the community and bring her social justice perspective to the tables where the decisions were being made in our government, and she ran successfully and served as a member of the Select Board and also as a member of our Amherst Housing Authority. She was a ubiquitous presence in our lives here in this community for generations. And we are indebted to her for the incredible work that she did. We're also indebted to her for those of us who were in public office, because there wasn't a campaign that she didn't take a position, support a candidate, and try to be helpful in electing good people to public office. I think the greatest pride was when she got to be at the Democratic Convention in 2012 as one of the 3 Western Massachusetts delegates at that convention, and she got to cast a vote to send Barack Obama back to the White House for a second term. She was just a force, a beacon of light, a bridge, said Andrea Battle, retired teacher. She went on to say she wanted to help people. That was her mission in life. Anawami Jane Moss said, her practice of friendship permeated all her other roles. She saw friendship as a means to overcome barriers and obstacles to build a better version of ourselves. And she's a gentle and persistent giant in this community, was the way Human Resources Director Deborah Radway described her. Now, through the talents at our local Amherst media, we're going to see a video that was produced celebrating and giving tribute to Judy Brooks as we dedicate today's program in her
memory. I have recuperating, but I hope to continue the work of Jean Haggerty. I was fortunate enough to be on the housing board when Jean arrived in Amherst and became resident at the housing in Wayland. So I said, oh, good, a new black woman. And she came to our meeting, and all of a sudden she wanted to organize. I said, ooh, let's go. With her energy, things changed in the Ann Whalen house for the good. And Jean herself was the person that I hope to be. She says she's going to do it. She does it and brings it all back to the community. So as I mature and grow older in this community, I hope to be the Jean Haggerty of doing things, providing things that continue to bring us together as a community. And I think there's a lot of work that we can do this in all several ways. And one of my goals is to see finally come true. Because being an Amherst resident for 40 plus years, I have really seen it grow. When I first came in 1971, I was at the ABC House, which forced me into this community because racism, and forced me into becoming involved, trying to straighten it out. So I did what I did, got involved. Then my son, it was time for him to go back to school. I applied for a job, got hired in Pelham. Must have gone up that road 4 times trying to find a school. I finally stopped. I said, where is the school? They said, oh, it's down there in the center of town. I said, center of town? What's center of town? They said, oh, down there by the gas station. Where the Rocks live now is the gas station. Oh, okay, that's the center of town. So when I go back, I look up, and there's a school. So I go in. Mrs. Partridge was the principal. I had 2 escorts that day and met my future 5th grade class. They looked at me, and I looked at them and C'est la vie. I came out and I said, oh God, fifth graders, what am I going to do? But Pelham provided me with a chance to grow up and become who I am from the learnings that I had developed through my colleges protesting with Martin Luther King in Washington, D.C. Okay, long story short. So I said, now how am I going to follow out this dream and start in Pelham? So I began the celebrations along with Mary Wyatt, the Martin Luther King breakfast that you go to every year. Mary Wyatt and I sat down one weekend and said, okay, let's do it. How are we going to do it? We did it. Then I went up to Pelham and told them, this is how we're going to celebrate Martin Luther King, da-da-da-da-da. So it began. And I can still say to today, I know the breakfast has continued and has done well. I can't speak for what our school system has done in celebrating some of the things that I know were annually done. So those are the things that I hope will come back, that we remember why we are doing things and to keep that community together and give kids something to look forward to and to graduate into an understanding maybe why there is bullying and get them to the point where we can all become. I grew up in a village. I know what a village is. Hillary Clinton's village is not my village because she has the concept, but you have to live a village. And that's what we have, a village. And we can make this our village. Stop working in compartments. You're working it over there, you're doing it here. There's a group right here in the middle who needs our attention, the high school. So we need to do a healing and bringing the hands across the valley and rejoicing and uplifting and celebrating our village. So I, as Jean Haggerty, Judy Brooks, pass on to you that challenge for all of us to work towards the healing and bringing a better community for our children. Thank you.
Drum major for justice. I ask you to rise in tribute to Judy, and at this time to recognize that as much as she did in her life, she didn't do it alone. She was always reaching out and finding partners in our community and beyond. So let's take a moment now and call out the names of those who are no longer with us, who with Judy and Mary Wyatt and so many others worked for social justice in our community. Irving Howard.
John Brennan.
Dr. Darity. Karen Foyer. Julius Ford.
Mary Jane Budd.
Big Johnson.
Jerry Moore.
Montgomery.
Yvonne John.
Ruth Johnson.
Steve Jefferson. Eugene Terry.
Ray Miles.
Dr. Brown.
Melanie Kasparian.
Ruth Washington. Mr. Davis. Dr. Darity. Yes.
Jim Faison.
Norma Gruff.
Andrew Salke.
Let's keep Judy and all of those named and unnamed in our hearts and minds, and pledge that we will do everything we can every day to try to live up to the legacy that they left, the work that they did, and recognize that we have the opportunity to carry it on and make this a better place for all. And while you're all standing, let's give a round of applause to everybody in the audience who teaches, did teach, at any level. You may be seated. So a couple of quick announcements. I've been asked to tell you all that the Coretta Scott King exhibit at the Eric Carle Museum will be closing next week. It's supposed to be a fantastic exhibit according to those who have seen it. You don't want to miss it, and you only have 1 week left, so try to put a note on your calendar to try to get over there sometime during this upcoming week. There's also a desperate need for groceries for soldiers and people involved in protecting our country who are not now receiving paychecks. And there are many others who are also serving us in so many other ways in our federal government who are not receiving paychecks. But there's a special effort right now at Pioneer USO to help those who are engaged with our military. And I assume that there is a website that you could Google to find out how to reach the Pioneer Valley USO and see if there's something you can do to be helpful for these folks. And then finally, there's a new scholarship in town. It's called the Sojourner Truth Scholarship, and it's for high school students who are college bound, and it focuses on social justice through community service. And the application deadline is April 15th. The award is given on May 26th at the Sojourner Truth Memorial Statue Park as part of the celebration there. And it's open to Hampshire and Hampden County public high school students, so it's actually seniors. So the person has to be a senior. So if you have one of those in your household, or you know someone who does, who you think should be suitably rewarded for their social justice work through community service, please feel free to be in touch with them. And Carol Reinhardt is contact. There was some information on your tables in the when we were having breakfast, but I have a copy up here if somebody needs to take down Carol's email address at the end of today's program. And now we move on to another thing, which I believe is more music. More music, right? The Amherst Regional Gospel Choir is going to join us up here again, and Jackie Wallace is going to lead them in some musical selections.
Yeah.
Done made my vow to the Lord to see what the end will be. Done made my vow to the Lord. Done made my vow to the Lord. Done made my vow to the Lord to see what the end will. To see what the end will.
Like Eshu said, it's not easy, but he wrote that song 30 years ago. It's still applicable today. It may still be applicable with my grandchildren 30 years from now doing this. But we are so happy to be here to bring our faith, because Martin Luther King was a person of faith in his fellow persons and where you come, persons, all of us. But he also was a person of faith. And we come bringing our faith to you. We have one more song to do, and it's Revelations 19.
conductor. So now we come to a part of the program we look forward to each year, as scholarships and community service awards are presented to young people and older people who have been laboring in the vineyards, trying to create a better world for us. And as we celebrate the 35th anniversary, I'd like to point out that we have 89 scholarship award winners in these first 35 years, and as we begin the next, we're going to hear about some awardees today from Richmond in just a minute. And we've also had 41 community service awards during this period. So congratulations to all of you who may be in the audience who were recipients of various awards along the way, and those of you who are here whose family members might have been recipients. Let's take a minute now and ask all of the members of the planning and organizing committees to rise and be recognized for this 35th anniversary celebration. So if you're inspired by today's activities, please talk to some folks. The names of all the committee members are in your program, and let them know you'd like to volunteer and be part of making their load even lighter next year as they organize the 36th. And now we move into the award ceremonies, and we're going to have Richmond Ampiaboni, the chair of the Scholarship and Awards Committee, make the presentations. Richmond.
Thank you very much. Because I want all of us to be here to the end, I'll make this quick. I just want to say, I spoke with one of the local reporters who was asking, so how do we present these scholarships? And I said, in addition to academic excellence, community service that is voluntary, but that impacts life within the local and other community. These award winners have to be nominated, which means they have to be recognized in their communities, whether in the school, in the church, wherever they live. And we have 2 scholarship winners this year from 2 schools, and I said I will go alphabetically. So first one, winner is coming from Amherst MLK Regional High School. Please welcome Carrington Dow.
Dr. King was a civil rights activist who demonstrated through his leadership and personal beliefs that change was possible through nonviolent protests. He worked to change a system that eliminated segregation, ensured equity, educational opportunities, and basic human rights for people of color and others. Dr. King's qualities and beliefs have transcended decades to the present day and will continue to do so for generations. Despite the foundation laid by Dr. King, there's still much work to be done, and that is why, as an African-American young man, I believe it is my responsibility to carry on his legacy, working to ensure that people of color have opportunities that will also allow us to be successful. I would like to thank the MLK community for selecting me for this award. It is an honor. Thank you to my educators, Ms. Custard, Ms. Haygood, Ms. Larchevek, and Ms. Gramacki for giving me the opportunities and the tools to embody these ideals and values of Dr. King. I'd also like to take the time to acknowledge and thank my hero, my mom, Georgia Malcolm. Shaping me to who I am today and for continuing to guide me to ensure that I succeed. Thank you, Mom. And thank you to my mentors for all the ways you have guided me and the young people of our community into becoming engaged, active, and aware citizens. It is our responsibility to carry on Dr. King's legacy. Thank you all.
So one thing I didn't tell you, Eshu, is that one of your duties is to give a blessing to the winners. So they'll say hello to you. From Belchertown High School, Adwa and Piaboni.
Dr. King is one of the most recognized leaders of the American Civil Rights Movement. Many people honor him for his bravery, determination, and service to his community at the local level and at the national level. For me, it is inspiring how Dr. King used his background and what he knew to make his life one of service. I feel like it is my responsibility to make the lives of people around me better. This idea of service not only came from my own determination, but came from my father. My father has taught my siblings and I not to take for granted the blessings we have, and to use our talents to serve others in our own special ways. In my case, it would be singing. Music, particularly singing, is an interesting and effective form of activism. As a member of the Amherst area gospel choir, I'm able to use my voice not only to bring joy to others, but as a part of serving the community and as a form of activism. This allows me to use my talent of singing not only to inform the community of the difficulties Black people in our country still face today, but to bring joy to the faces of people who might not have had it otherwise. I hope to help bring us all closer to his dream, that one day we will live in a nation where we will not be judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of their character.
We have hosted this award by RADA, that's the Race and Discipline Action Rights Committee. And that's because, as the MLK Committee, we find that we have an intersection in purpose with the beliefs of this award. This is the Dr. Norma Jean Anderson Civil Rights and Academic Achievement Award. So I will read about the recipient this year. In as little time as he has been my principal, he has been one of my favorites. He is an influential Black educator whom children can look up to at school. He has a very nice and, in quotes, chill personality. He takes students' problems and solutions very seriously. Since the first time I was introduced to him, he has shown himself to be a very cool principal with good vibes. Whenever he sees students in the halls, he can be heard asking students how they are doing. He follows every short conversation with a fist bump, which most teachers do not do. He's always in a good mood, has a big smile on his face, which makes you feel better during the day if you are under the weather. Another reason why he's my favorite is because he's an influential, powerful Black leader in our school. Some days, he has a group of Black children, including me, join together to talk about how middle school is going and how we're going academically, how we are doing academically. I find it very helpful. Sometimes I do not like to ask for help from some teachers. With him, he sets an environment where I feel safe and I'm comfortable to ask for help from either him or other students. Now, this is written by Darius Cage, a 7th grade student. So it is a pleasure. I will present Joseph Smith for the 2019
Can you hear me? Yes. I am humbled. You know, it's one thing when your colleagues recognize you, but when families and students recognize you, it is truly humbling, because that's why I'm here. In 2008, myself, Dr. Westberg and Jones, we took on a collaboration with this district to provide professional development for teachers, school psychologists, all practitioners, and it was a series on how to support students of color. And that was in 2008. I left here, went to other adventures, notably in Northampton to be a principal, and I wanted to come back. The reason why I came back to Amherst is because I know that Amherst is trying. They're still trying to make this a better place for all. And I really believe in Amherst. And we're getting there. We're getting there. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. The achievement gap is still not closing, and that bothers me. So when I see students like Darius, let me back up one step. As leader of the co-principal of this building, I'm here for all children. Let's not get that twisted. But I know what marginalization does to other students. And I'm here for those students especially. So I want to make sure that's known. But every student comes to my office, but particularly young black boys. And I'll tell you why. As a father of 3, this is the youngest. I think I'm done after this. John Luca here has given me a run for my money. But as a father of 3 boys, and John Luca is actually transitioning, but it's a whole other story. We can talk another time. I know what it's like to live in this era of policing and Black Lives Matter. So I'll give you a quick synopsis of what I'm talking about. Having raised my other 2, yes, 2 boys and 1. He's here to keep me in check. There he is. So my 2 oldest sons, wanted to go out and party as high schoolers, like what typical high schools want to do. And the thing about our community and our kids is that we have to have the talk with them before they can go out. Most other people, they can just, okay, here goes the car, keys to the car, be back at 12, that's it. We have to have a long conversation. Unfortunately, even till this day, because we know what's going to happen. Now, it's been happening for a long time. Far too often, and thank goodness to technology, we're able to catch it now. But this is nothing new to us. And so one night, my worst fear was realized. My youngest of the 2 came home. I accompanied by the police. And they rang the bell. My wife and I, my wife is right there. Dr. Pika, can you please stand up? So my wife and I went to the door, and there was Keon with 3 or 4 police, about 3 or 4. And he said, "Oh, is this your son?" I said, "Yes, my son." And they said, "Well, he fit a description." Keon is gorgeous. Dreads, a white tee, and jeans. I don't know how many kids look like that or fit that description. But he fit the description. I said, "Okay, was he doing anything?" No, we're looking for someone who looked like him. I said, "Okay." And as you could, my blood was boiling. I said, "Okay," but he didn't do anything, no. And it's a good thing, to be honest with you, at that time, that I had to talk. Because had Keon run from them, something like that, reach in his pocket, this conversation would be a little different, unfortunately. And that's been oftentimes the case. But I will tell you this with the utmost confidence. I will not have to talk with Gianluca. Gianluca will be free, like everyone's child should be free, and like Dr. Martin Luther King wanted to be. I will not have that conversation. Gianluca is free to do whatever they want in school, outside of school, and that's how it should be for everyone's child. So, why am I here? Well, as I stated, I'm here for all children. When we talk about discrimination practices, institutionalized racism, what does that mean exactly? When we talk about the stratification in math programs, we talk about AP programs, the lack of representation, the over-representation in disciplinary practices. That's why I'm here. To make sure the playing field is level. Now, yes, it's nice to have a well-dressed, beautiful, smiling principal. And someone that looks like you. However, it's good to also have someone that brings a different perspective to the table. And that's what I hope to do here. Will you help me? Let's do it.
Congratulations to all of the award winners today. Why don't we give them one more round of applause. And as we invite Reverend Tom Sinan from Grace Episcopal Church to come forward for the benediction, let's take a moment and ask all of the current and former clergy in the audience to please rise and be recognized for your contributions to our communities.
Good morning. You know, among the many stories, events, and lessons in the scriptures, the Bible makes a note of a certain time long, long ago that was particularly not good. It's the way it's written. It says, "The word of the Lord was rare in those days, and visions were not widespread." Over 3,000 plus years, how many generations do you think identified with that description? Finding the word of the Lord was rare and visions were not widespread. How many of us hear that and think that sounds a lot like our world today? A world where the word of the Lord seems rare and visions, sadly, are not only not widespread, but they seem to be sometimes downright bleak. Where is our help to come from? Well, the answer, my friends, is that from the very beginning, the Almighty has always and always been paying attention and has always been on it. In that first situation long, long ago, God called and sent the prophet Samuel. And God has been calling prophets ever since. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Amos, Zephaniah, Joel, and Dr. Martin Luther King. In virtually every generation, prophets are sent to show us the way of freedom and peace. The mantle of the prophet is always in front of us. It's up to us to answer the call and pick it up. With the voice of a prophet, Dr. King said, "With faith, we will be able to go on to carve a tower of hope on the mountain of despair and bring into being that great dream and create right here in America a nation where all will live together." Most gracious God, on this day when we remember the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King, we ask you to look with compassion on the whole human family. Take away the arrogance and hatred which infect our hearts. Break down the walls that separate us. Unite us in bonds of love and work through our struggle and confusion to accomplish your purposes here on earth. Give us wisdom and peace as we pursue justice, hope, and love for all people. May we do as you would want us to do. And what is that but nothing other than to love justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with you, O gracious Lord. Sustain us with your word. May it not be rare in our day. And help us to have the vision needed to persevere in making Dr. King's dream become the reality it is supposed to be. Make us the instruments of your peace. Help us to bring to fruition a world where all will live together and the dignity of every human being will be respected. Pour out your Spirit on all flesh so that children will prophesy, elders dream dreams, and young people see visions. And now may the Lord guard, bless, and protect each and every one of you. May God illumine your path, guide your hands, and strengthen your will this day and always. In the name of the Almighty One we pray. Amen. Amen.
This concludes the 35th anniversary of the Martin Luther King Jr. breakfast program, and I thank you all for being with us today, and let us go forth and do good things.